Okay, we're going to talk about filter change. It's the question I get asked most frequently. When do I change my filters? How often do I change my filters? There's no really precise answer. It really has a lot of variables. It depends on the food that you use, the bedding that you use, the density of the animals. There's a variety of reasons of why the filters become blocked. So that being said, the procedure that we use, and we like to stress that we think is a good way to determine whether the filters are good or bad, is that when you start off, you're going to notice that there's a magnehelic gauge. That magnehelic gauge should be set at 0.1 inches of water, okay? And how do we determine that? Well, when we plug the blower motor in, as we turn that blower motor on, we want to get that so that it's set at 0.1 inches. And then it takes a little bit of work to dial that in and get it exactly. So you just kind of let it equilibrate for a second. And there you go. It's at 0.1 inches of water. And that's whether you're running positive or negative. On positive, it will be on this side. On negative, it will be on that side. But the important thing is that it's at 0.1 inches of water to start off. As the filter gets more blocked, in the positive mode, you'll see that it'll go from 0.1, it'll increase, it'll go to 0.15. Gradually, it'll step up. When it gets to 0.15, that's in the positive mode, that's when you should change your filters. On the negative, it's just the opposite. When it'll start off at 0.1 and it'll decrease in pressure. Typically, this is in typical situations. I've seen situations in both positive and negative that contradicted that, and it was really due because there was a lot of dust in the facility from construction. So that drywall dust, that plaster dust got into the filters and blocked them, either in positive or negative. That's really has a bad effect and it blocks the filters off. And it makes it very unpredictable to tell what's going on because it's just the opposite of what it should be. Okay, so you have your intake plenum, and in the intake plenum there's a filter, a little smaller version of this particular filter, but it's a HEPA filter. And by definition, HEPA is 99.97% efficient at 0.3 microns. Okay, so what that means is it captures all of the particles 0.3 and larger. So then the question comes up, how is it effective when we know that some viral particles are smaller? Well, first of all, viral particles, if they're smaller, they have less mass, they get trapped by the filter medium more easily. That's one factor. They also are not usually free-ranging. They are usually on droplets of water from the animal's respiration, or they're on dust. So HEPA is very, very effective. I don't feel you need to go above HEPA to ALPA or anything like that, or even 0.999% efficiency. It really doesn't serve any purpose. We really want to stick with, I think, with HEPA, and it's good enough. Okay, when we're talking about this external filter, when it is in positive pressure mode, this would be the exhaust filter. So the air is going into the intake, into the chamber, and then out through this filter. This would be the filter that would get blocked up most readily, okay? When we're talking about running this thing in negative, this actually becomes the intake filter. So the filter that would get blocked is the one that's in the plenum. Typically in positive pressure, this is the filter that you replace most frequently. In negative operation, it's the one inside the plenum that gets changed most frequently. All right, in positive mode, it's when the filter goes to 0.15 inches of water. You should change the filter. In negative mode, it's when it goes to 0.05 inches. It actually decreases in pressure. Okay, now, so when do you change it? As soon as it gets there? It's not that important. You actually change when you're between projects would be the best time to change. It's a very rare instance where you really have to change the filter on the fly. It's possible to change the exhaust filter on positive pressure. It's possible to change it on the fly. I can't think of very many instances where that would really be practical or desirable. So you really want to think about changing your filters when you're recycling the isolator, when you're getting ready for your next project. If they look like they were questionable, they were marginal, in the middle of the range, replace them. Filters are not terribly expensive. You can do a complete filter change for less than $200 on a small isolator like this. And for the larger isolators, it's not much more expensive than that, maybe another $100. So it's a relatively inexpensive thing to do between projects, and highly recommended.